Centralizing, buying time, killing people next in line. Lower classes, social slime, they don't matter. Genocide, sick from water, sick from air. Making money, they don't care. Caesar shit, force of air. Fuck them back, it's only for they war. They shoot, they kill, they massacre, rape. They burn the kids, no one makes countries laugh to your face, fight and die, 'cause God forgive. Selling lies and buying time, killing people next in line. Lower classes, social side, they don't matter. Genocide, sick from water, sick from air. Making money, they don't care. See their shit, force of bear. Fuck them back, it's only fair. They bomb, they shoot, they kill, they massacre, rape. They burn the kids. No one leaves countries. Lie to your face, fight and die, 'cause God forgives. Yeah. Coming back around again.
Okay, welcome to the show. I'm your host, Ron Stevens. This is Game On right here on UCY.tv. And it's 26th of May. And so that month is just about shot. But that's okay. The weather's getting good finally. And I'm going to start tonight with I didn't realize that took place, but it did. There was a march against Monsanto. I think I saw it go by in the news, but there was a march against Monsanto down in Toronto recently. And my good friend Michael Schmidt attended it. And if you listen to the show, you know who Michael Schmidt is. And he's a raw milk farmer, Durham, Ontario, who has been fighting with the government for the last 20-some years. So this idea, that it's the right or the left, Michael's fought them all, right, left, and in the middle. They're all one and the same. They all bow to the same powers. They're all puppets of the same powers. None of them represent the people. None of them have ever represented the people. They represent the corporation, which be it the province, the municipality, the state, the township, the federal government. None of them represent the people. Now, we've been conned into thinking if we vote, we get representation. It's not true. Never been true. But people got conned into it. And you always hear, I'm so sick of this politician or that party, I can't wait till the next election until we go to vote them out. And you get the same thing. And you go, what the hell happened there? Well, you can only do the same thing looking for a different outcome so long before you got to wake up and ask yourself some questions. Excuse me. And I think that's the beauty of 2016. People are waking up very fast now. Now, I'm not talking about everybody's waking up, but I mean, enough people are waking up. The rest of them will follow. Most people are sheep. And they will remain sheep for all time. Nothing you can do about those people. But we're getting enough people now that we can really start shoving back on these people. One of the ways to do it is to ridicule them, because they have no right. This idea that their authority and they deserve respect is losing its traction fast. they deserve no respect. And we have to be disrespectful to them so they understand that we ain't giving them any more respect. Because they're liars, they're thieves, they're all members of an international crime syndicate. Why would you show respect to a criminal organization? Makes no sense. Makes no sense at all. Anyways, Michael, I'm going to throw this link in here. Michael made a very short speech at the Monsanto demonstration down in Toronto. And he did a very good job with a very short speech. But he did a very good job on it. He told people what they need to hear and need to act upon. So I'm going to put this in the chat. That's not it. Where'd it go? Why did that not open up? My computer's hanging a little bit here. You have to excuse me. All right. Come on, puppy. So anyways, have a boo at this thing. And pass it around if you wish. The message is extremely important. And that is, and I've been saying it for years, we got to get out of the audience, right? Most people live in the audience. They don't realize it's a play. They don't realize their life is actually a fictional play. And that there are script writers and producers and organizers and advertisers who are in charge of the play. And most of us just go like we're in the audience and we go, ooh, ah, oh, that's the bad guy, that's the good guy, and so on and so forth. So we're just basically a quiet audience watching our lives go by and not doing anything about it. So Michael speaks very clearly on this, and I've said it for years. I've never had any use for protest. I've never had any use for what do you call it, signing petitions. That's what they expect out of you. All you're doing there is tell them how you like the play so far. But doesn't make any difference. Never will. So Michael just explains that, that if you're going to come to these protests and just go home and put away your protest sign, well, basically, they'll just stay home. I only said those exact things, but that's my attitude towards it. You might as well never showed up. Maybe it makes you feel good for a little bit, but if you go home and put your protest sign away and just go back to your regular life, then there was no point in the protest. And he spells that out very well. And take a boo at it, and hopefully it resonates some way or another. And Michael knows one thing he did say is that once you've been thrown in jail, it kind of frees you because you know that you're actually making some kind of a difference. You've got somebody's attention, right? And that's the whole point. Well, thank you, Shirley. I hope I'm making sense to somebody sometimes. I've been doing this for so friggin' long. It's really sad. I went to get a coffee around noon today, and I don't recommend you go to that particular corner store at noon because all the kids were there from the high school, and they were all I didn't see any girls really, mostly young guys, probably grade 9, 10, looked like. There was a passel of them, and I guess they'd walk down to the high school for lunch, and or from the high school to the corner store, and they're all getting those, I don't know, I call them slushy drinks. I don't know exactly what you call them. The ice with the coloring and the taste in them, the flavoring. And they're all buying these. There was a horde of them. Because I never understood who was buying all these slushies or whatever you call them. I thought it was a waste of time until I was there at noon, and I saw a lot of them. But these kids were just loading up on sugar and these slushies and that. And I asked the one kid, I was making myself a coffee, and I asked the one kid, I says, you like these things? He goes, oh yeah. And I says, you ever thought of giving one to your teacher? No. Well, have you guys understood that your teachers are real kind of like dolts? Well, yeah, he says to me. And I says, have you ever explained that to your teachers? No. Why not? We'll get in trouble. See, there's the problem, people. There's the problem. When I was in school, my job was to question the teachers. Now the teachers tell the kids if the students question them, they'll be given black marks. They'll be given detention. You're not allowed to question authority. Well, if you don't question authority sooner or later going to put the boot on your neck or your face. You won't know what to do about it. And it's really unfortunate because I've talked to an awful lot of students, and I haven't found any yet that have any jam in them. Although I did meet one gentleman, young guy, grade 10, I think, I was going uptown one night, and we kind of walking together and talking, and he explained to me that he was asked to leave school. He's taking correspondence courses. And I said, you get any idea why you were asked to leave the school? Well, I questioned a lot. And they told me that I was disturbing the other students. But I said, were these legitimate questions? He said, of course they're legitimate questions. But they asked me to leave because I was disturbing the class. So now I'm taking correspondence courses. This is how they weed people out. They don't want anybody that can think to be anywhere near the sheep portion of the student body, which is the majority of them. So they weed them out. And that's damned unfortunate. But this is the time we live in. Now, if the teachers refuse, and I know my teachers didn't have too big a hard-on to teach us anything of use, and I know that they look down upon anybody asking too many questions. You can ask certain questions, but if you get too deep into it, they don't want nothing to do with that. They were taught to teach a particular curriculum, and they don't want to get off the curriculum because the curriculum was created by those that don't want you to know anything. So all of the teachers are just sheep, useful idiots, doing what they're told to do, and their job is to restrain, I guess, the thought processes, the conversations, the questioning, to mold those minds into something that when they get out of school, they don't ask too many questions. And that's unfortunate, but that's what we live in, and we got to change it. And we all need to be talking to the kids. Any chance we get, we got to be talking to the kids. Why do they go after the children? Obviously, because they're the easiest to mold. They're not set in their ways yet. You take these young minds that have never been screwed with, making sure they're put in front of the television from the time they're born till the time they enter kindergarten. Kindergarten. Maybe look that up in etymology, you'll find a garden of children. That's what kindergarten means. Okay, so they mold the children, they water the children, they feed the children, and they grow the plants they want. They get the crop they want. So this is why they want to get the kids. I remember David Suzuki one time I was reading a thing, and I think, I can't remember where he said that. I don't remember if it was in Canada or the United States, but he said that we got to get to the children. Because by the time people get through university, they're already set in their ways. We got to get to the children. And that's exactly what they do. And this is child abuse. I've always called it child abuse. Okay? They're trying to put a particular program into the children's minds and get them to believe things that are absolutely untrue so that they can use them as the useful idiots to move their programs forward. And that's child abuse. Absolutely clinical child abuse. And we hold these people up in the media, and because the people hold these people up in the media as some kind of hero or some kind of statesman or someone you can trust, the general population trusts what they say, even though they're lying through their freaking teeth. So get the children. Gotta get the children. Now that's a psychopathic, sociopathic way of going about things. These people are amoral. They're not immoral, they're amoral. They have no moral guidepost. It matters not to them who they abuse. It matters not to them who they destroy. It matters not to them who gets killed. As long as their program continues to move forward. These amoral people are the ones that lie to the children. The politicians are amoral because you can't be a politician unless you are prepared to lie through your teeth. And that goes back to that old John Lennon song. There's, I forget what the song was called now. But in the song, it says there's still room at the top if you're willing to smile as you kill. Something along that line anyways. And that's absolutely true. Because they use the schools from the earliest time the kids are in school, they start scouting the kids. And they move them where they want them, where they think they can use them. They patronize them, they smile at them, they build their egos, they stroke them. Then they get them into universities. That's where it really gets bad. Okay, by the time they get through university, their minds are completely screwed up. You can sit there, I've been to universities, I've talked to lots of university people, and you can show them exactly why they're wrong, okay? And they will deny it even though it's right in front of their face. The odd one I've managed to wake up, but they're a hard bunch because they're vested in it. And they don't want to believe they've been lied to. And that goes back to Psych 101. Once the mind has accepted something as the truth, it's very difficult for the mind to throw what they thought was the truth out and actually accept the real truth. Very difficult for the mind to do that. The mind is already committed to something as the truth. This is what all the kids. I'll never forget the first time I met Michael Schmidt. I've said this so many times. Because we are in a psychological, spiritual war, make no mistake about it. But we were doing a friend of mine had put on a food freedom meeting, day, whatever. And had some, a couple of musicians there and whatnot. And Michael was one of the scheduled speakers, and he was talking about pushback and talking about food freedom is what we were talking about, and the fact that they've got us in our food system is like the same as the automotive industry or so many other industries. It's the just-in-time scenario. Okay, so you don't stock a lot of anything. You only stock what you need to move until the next trucks roll in. The problem with the food, it's one thing if the trucks stop and you're building cars or building refrigerators or something, you're really not going to mess up anything too bad that way. But if you stop the food, there's only 3 days worth of food in the stores. That's it. Now, if the food trucks stop, it ain't going to last 3 days. And this is what the point Michael was trying to bring across, is that we have got to take control of our food. If we don't have control of our food, then they have control of us. And Henry Kissinger said that. Control the food, control the people. There were no grocery stores in the United States until 1948, 3 years after the war, 3 years after the United Nations. And they went to work hard on that, controlling everything. That's what they're doing. So Michael's little thing he did is he got a guy, there was actually a guy there that worked at the grocery store, and he was a good chunk of a guy. And he worked, let me think, yes, he did. He worked in produce. And so Michael got him to stand up in front of him. And he wasn't a little guy. He was a lot younger than Michael. And Michael just walked up to him and took his two hands and gave him a push in the chest. And the grocery guy backed up. Michael walked up to him again, quietly, looked at him, gave him another shove in the chest. The young guy backed up again. Michael must have done it at least 5 times. Now, the young guy, who's quite strong looking, is jammed up against the wall. And Michael just looked at him and said, "Why didn't you push back?" And there, I think, in lies the problem with most people. They don't know how to push back anymore. They just keep on taking it. And we have to push back. We cannot feed ourselves. That's ridiculous. And they can shut down our food system anytime they want. I mean, anytime they want. Then what? Guess you could go look at Venezuela right now. What happened down there? What's occurring down there? Okay, it's imploded. And what's the biggest problem down there? Is it not having a car? Not having a house? No, it's food. It's food. You kill the food deliveries, you turn wherever you are into total and complete chaos. They know it. They absolutely know it. So we as people have got to take back control of our lives. We have to take control of our nations, because the ones who presently have control of our nations don't represent us. They represent those who wish to do us harm. Your government is guilty of conspiracy. There isn't a government on the planet that is not guilty of conspiracy. Yet we fear them. We don't want to get in trouble. Well, you're in trouble. You're in huge amounts of trouble. And the trouble is just going to keep getting worse. What's not sustainable? Private property is not sustainable. It's looked upon as a form of social injustice. If you own property and I don't, you can gain, I can't. Therefore, that's a social injustice. And the only way these clowns see to fix it is that nobody owns private property. Although somebody's going to own the private property, and that's going to be those who are running you out of your homes. None of this is by mistake. It's all well planned out. They put in trigger points, and then they gain from the trigger points. And the people lose. What irritates me more, I think, than anything else is that those who are getting beat up go to the one that beat them up asking for help. That's messed up. It was what the government did that caused you harm, and then you turn around and go to the government saying, oh, help me, which is exactly what they expect you to do. So they win again. If we allow this to all shake out without stopping it, you will have no right to anything. Now, the universal human rights out of the UN states that everyone has the right to adequate this, that, and the other thing. The only problem is they will be the ones who decide what is adequate. And you ain't going to like what they say is adequate. And if it gets to that point where they have that final control, that means that your nation, your so-called elected representatives, have given up all of your resources to those who created the United Nations, which are corporations. It all ties together with Rockefeller said something has to take the place of government, and business seems the obvious entity to do it. And they're building the global trust as our so-called governments hand over all of our resources to those who created World War I, World War II, the Vietnam War, the Korean War, every other damn war, and the wars that continue today. Those are the people that killed hundreds of millions of people are going to be your new bosses. Do you really want them to be in power? Do you really want them to have total control over everything in your nation? We know they would. You know, these are the same clowns that came up with sustainable development. What else is not sustainable? People. People are not sustainable. There are too damn many of you. I mean, they come right out and say it. You know, the sustainable population is anywhere from 500 million to 2 billion. But the 2 billion only works if you live under Bangladeshi standards. Possibly 1 billion under Western standards. Michael Gorbachev, who was involved in the Earth Charter, Rio, stated that if we get rid of 90% of the population, then we don't have an environmental problem. Now, he runs Green Cross. And I forget what it's called in the States because he has a thing in the States. Now I'm really ticked off because a lot of the so-called famous celebrities are involved in this Mikhail Gorbachev Green Cross thing. I don't know if it's called Global Green in the United States or what the hell it's called. But I mean, Willie Nelson headlined for Green Cross? And what the hell is this? Now, if you go watch the 1987 production, America, and I'm going to keep jamming at that, at people, go watch the damn thing. You want to know what's going on in your schools, go watch him with a K, 1987, starring Chris Christopherson and a whole bunch of other people. 13-part series, came out in 1987, the same year Our Common Future, the Brundtland Report, was released. And the release of those two things were not by accident. This was a roll-up to Rio 92. But in that series, you will see the feminization of the kids. You will see the tearing apart of the society. You will see where the arts in that come into play. I mean, it's brilliant. And what it is the Russian takeover, the Soviet takeover of America. People being run off their lands. It's the same game. They put it right in front of people's faces. Now, in 1987, people would go, well, that can never happen. Well, it's happening, isn't it? Right in front of your faces, it's happening. Now, say, well, yeah, but it's not the Russians. Well, it's not the Russians in particular. It's called the Sovietization of America, which is the West. The only problem is they can't get their global government until they destroy America and the Constitution and they get rid of the King James Bible. That's why the Muslim influx, that's why Sharia law. They get rid of that King James Bible and they get rid of the American Constitution, of which George Bush called it just a damn piece of paper. Till they sufficiently get rid of this stuff, they can't win. But they're working hard. Okay, this is their final push. This is their final push. Now, either we push back or we submit. If we submit, well, there's going to be a lot of people not around. They're already doing the massive killings. Right? They can't kill you with the food they poison. They can't kill you with the water they poison. They can't kill you with depression and suicide and the pharmaceutical drugs that force people into suicide. They can't kill you with the vaccines. They can't kill you with the cancers. They can't kill you with I mean, you got people lining up now to be snuffed out, right? Assisted suicide. Okay? Genocide is rife across the West. They started with Planned Parenthood. I remember all kinds of articles way back when where they talking about, do you realize it'll cost you like $180,000 by the time your kid's 18 years old, and then you still got to put through college and stuff like this? Do you really want to have a kid? Having a kid's going to ruin your life. And the people in the West stopped having kids until most Western countries are below replacement. Then they turn around and they say, oh my God, who's going to pay for the boomers' pensions? Nobody had any kids. Who's going to fill these jobs? Oh, we'll have to bring in immigrants. In comes your multiculturalism. This is all carefully planned out. None of it's OGs, right? This is all carefully planned out. All you got to do is go back and follow it through. It's completely planned out. So when they say they want to get rid of most of the population, they ain't kidding around. They want to get rid of most of the population. Now that series, America with a K, people say, oh, that's just a movie. No movie is made unless it's got a message attached to it. Okay? You're not being entertained, you're being told. You're just supposed to not see it. You're supposed to go, oh, that was a really good movie. What do you think? Well, it never happened here. Well, go back and watch the Norman Dodds interview from the Reese Commission to find out what the tax-exempt foundations were up to, the Rockefellers, the Carnegies, the Fords, and so on. What are they up to? As one of the guys from the Ford Foundation said. Well, that's simple. What we're up to. Our goal is the Sovietization of America. And that was way back, I think, in the late 50s. So it's no surprise what's going on. If you take that and you take the movie America, it should pretty much solidify what the hell's going on. There isn't a government, I don't care if it's right, left, or centrist, that is not involved in this. These people have sold their freaking souls. Why, I have no idea. So that they're in a position of power in a position, an moneyed position, so when this all goes to hell, they're okay. But this is what's going down. So you take those two things, and you take Warburg from the Fed, who stated the 1950 Senate hearings. We will have world government by consent or by conquest. Go look at Iraq, that was conquest. Go look at Libya, that was conquest. We here in the West are just supposed to submit through our schooling. Through our schooling, we are to submit through our schooling and through our media and through our movies and through our politics and through our religion. All of these people are working for the other side. So, we have to come to terms with it. We have to accept it. This idea of saying, oh, they'd never do that. Want that? They've done every other damn thing they said they were going to do. Control the food, control the people. You go into a grocery store, there's really not much food in a grocery store. I mean, if you think about it, what's really edible in a grocery store? Not much. My old relatives who are in their late 80s through mid 90s now, they won't eat meat out of a grocery store. They still have their senses about them. They said they can smell the chemicals coming off of that stuff. They won't touch it with a 10-foot pole. And they're not vegans. These are hard-working, healthy, got their wits about them in their mid-90s, not sitting there drooling out pharmaceuticals. But they won't touch the food. Because they know it's poisoned. Got all these people running around going there, what is that word I'm looking for? Gluten intolerant. How the hell can you be allergic to wheat? You're not. You're allergic to the poison they put in the wheat. What is bread? The bread is staff of life. So what do? They poison it. People aren't lactose intolerant. They screwed with the food. They control the food. Control the food, control the people. I mean, really, it bothers me because I quit eating all processed food because there was so much junk in it. I got ill. And I'm extremely allergic to, what do you call that stuff? I forgot what they call it now. But anyways, I'm quite allergic to it. So in a way, it was good that I got allergic to it because I can't eat it. And therefore, I've never felt healthier in my life. Never felt healthier in my life. When I was eating all that garbage, my joints were starting to hurt. My knees hurt more than they should have. My back, I'm beat up from construction and falling off scaffolds and rolling ATVs and whatnot. But so it's a combination of a lot of things. But my shoulders are totally tore up. And was told I need shoulder replacements. The pain was so friggin' bad I couldn't drive. I hit a little bump of pain. I just had to hit the brakes, couldn't drive. My knees, if I bent down, I couldn't get back up. But it's amazing, once I got rid of all of these processed foods out of my diet, my shoulders really don't hurt anymore. And my knees really don't hurt anymore. Because I ain't ingesting the poison anymore, or as little as absolutely possible. And I'm not one of these health freaks, right? But the fact is that most of what you eat is poisoned. The other problem is if you do eat even the vegetables in that, unless you've got a real true blue organic farmer who has cleaned the land, the mineral and vitamin content even in your vegetables is probably not more than 60% of what it should be. How we let all this happen? We let it happen because we didn't pay attention. We let it happen because, well, they own the media. I mean, I'll never, ever, ever forget when they brought margarine out. I'll never forget that. I couldn't believe people's stupidity. There was commercials constantly on there for margarine, promoting it. It's just like butter. What? How can it be just like butter? If it was just like butter, let me think a minute. It would be butter. And they told people that butter was bad for them. And they were unrelenting with their propaganda. Just boom, 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 boom. And constant, unrelenting propaganda eventually gets people to believe the lie. Because nobody's pushing back at it. And I couldn't understand why people were eating margarine. Well, butter's bad for you. Well, what do you mean butter's bad? Well, the scientists said. Well, we all know how much use I have for science, or scientists. They're a completely controlled group of people. And if they don't push the program, you ain't never going to hear from a scientist. I'm not saying all scientists are bad. I'm sure there's tons of good scientists out there, but you ain't never going to hear. You're never going to read their papers. Totally controlled. The only thing that gets out to the media about science is what those in control want out. They control the information. So I ate butter. And people go, "You're eating butter?" Yeah, I am. Because my grandma and grandpa ate butter, and they lived to be hellish old. And they were extremely healthy. And they weren't taking pharmaceuticals. They was eating butter. So I don't know what it is. It's probably 30 years later, the same people who would go to me, "You're eating butter?" are now going, "Well, I've switched to butter." Because now the scientists say butter's good for you. Duh. Same thing with eggs, same thing with peanut butter, same thing with just you name it. Excuse me. The scientist said, the nutritionist said, the magazine said, the TV said, it's just like you've been conned your whole frickin' lives. We got to get over that. You know? So now we have people, you can't eat meat. Well, I wouldn't eat the meat out of the stores, but, you know, you can eat the meat. Just got to find the real meat, that's all. That's what's making it difficult. So Michael Schmidt, back to him, who's a raw milk farmer, who I wish I was a little bit close. Well, if I was, I wish I was a little bit closer to him, but nothing makes my tummy feel happier than a gallon or two of good old raw milk. And raw milk is not a poison. Raw milk is what it is. It's milk. That's all it is. It's milk. No different than real meat. Both are good for you. And I think this is the problem, okay? They don't want you to have access to healthy food. But they also only want you, if they do not have if the government does not have 100% control so that they can license people so that they can make money at it, then you can't do it. I mean, take marijuana. When I was a kid, the cops were having a freak out over this stuff. Again, propagandized. When I was a kid, if you smoked weed, you're more likely you could probably jump off a big high building or kill 2,000 people or rape everybody that moved. It was nasty. Of course, that was untrue. But how many people did they throw in jail and how many lives did they ruin? They didn't have a way after propaganding it as bad, and so that they could, I think, from the research I did, it was mainly to help out the cotton farmers. Anybody can grow hemp. So it's about competition. So they shut it down, saying that it's bad for you, it's unhealthy, and yada, yada, yada. And years later, they figure out that they can finally legalize this stuff, and they sell it to the people as a way to make tax money in that. And what kills me is these, I don't smoke weed anymore. I haven't in years, maybe once in a blue moon. But I do know it ain't going to hurt you. So now the government figures out a way it and its buddies can control that market. Now it'll be legal, and this is what kills me, these people who want it legal. You got all these so-called potheads and that, oh boy, they're going to legalize marijuana. You're an idiot. That's all I got to tell you. You're a freaking idiot. The plant was on this planet forever. It's a plant. It's like any other plant. This idea that I can get a prescription for medical marijuana. Just grow the junk. Just grow it. It's a plant. Well, it's not legal. I have to have this license. This is our problem. Just grow the stuff, please. So now they're the very governments that said that we're going to throw you in jail forever if we catch you with a bag of weed are now producing weed and licensing growers, and it's mostly their buddies in that, ex-politicians in that. And so they're all reaping the benefits of something that cost, I don't know, hundreds of thousands, probably millions of people. Harm in their lives, not from smoking weed, but being thrown in jail. Now, these same politicians are throwing people in jail all of a sudden. It's good stuff, but only if we control it. If you grow it, we're still going to throw your ass in jail because you're not licensed to grow it. So the good old licensing thing, something that is legal, or is lawful rather, made illegal, which is color of law. It never stops being lawful, it just becomes illegal. And if you grow it, they'll still throw your ass in jail. Because now you're competing with their buddies, right? Just like Michael and his milk. Now, if the government could figure out how to make a pile of money by licensing or making raw milk legal, how do you make milk legal? How do you make a plant legal or illegal? I mean, think about that for a minute. The fluid comes out of the cow. How can that be illegal? You stick a seed in the ground and a plant grows. How the hell can that be illegal? It's illegal because legal is commerce. Okay? Legal is corporate. Legal is color of law. It's not unlawful to grow weed. It's not unlawful to milk a cow. It's illegal to compete with the government. They don't like competition. That's where illegal comes in. Then we got to come to terms with that. We need to ridicule these people. Now, I put a post. I don't know if anybody that listens to this has Facebook or not, but you can go to my Facebook site if you want, which is Rock the Boat Radio, I think it's called now. I changed the name of it. Just let me take a quick boo here. What does it say? Facebook. Rock the Boat Radio on Facebook. And I put a couple of posts up here. Our Prime Minister of Canada, the son of Pierre Elliott Trudeau. See, it's still the family compact. You got the Bushes and that in the States, and we got the Trudeaus and that up here. But I got Justin here dressed in kind of a Arabian dress, and I'm asking people. A lot of people don't like the Liberals, which is silly because that means if you don't like the Liberals, you're probably a conservative and you don't understand politics whatsoever. I mean, if you're silly enough to think that the Conservatives have your best interest at heart, you ain't running on a full deck right yet, right? You still don't get it. One is the same as the other. A bird has two wings, and you have a right wing and a left wing. And the wings go in the same place. And you're being flown to the same destination. And when you get sick of one wing, and you say, well, I don't want to look at that wing, I want to get this wing. Well, the wings are still taking you to the same place. But anyways, I said, don't be too hard on the Canadian, I call him PM Uppet now, so it looks like Muppet. Don't be hard on the Canadian PM Uppet, Justin Trudeau. He's got a lot on his mind right now. And he says this. He says he's a feminist. But he's a lot younger than me. He came through the school system. Make no mistake about it. Be a private school, maybe it's still the school system. His daddy was Jesuit trained. I don't know what schools Justin went to, but so he's a feminist. He's an advocate of the LGBT group. He's pro-Islam. He's also pro-Israel. He's an advocate of the UN Agenda 21 / world government, etc. And right now he's trying to figure out which bathroom to use. And I said, I'm certainly glad I don't have to struggle with which bathroom to use, depending on how I identify on any given day. I'm a man, and I know it. But it is time we push back. So I'm going to throw these links in here. Then I'll throw in the main link too, but I'll throw this in, and hopefully you get a giggle out of it. I hope that, if nothing else. I had somebody leave a note on here saying, well, I'm wrong that Trudeau is not pro-Israel. And these people think they know a lot about whatever, and then it takes me like all the 2 seconds to find a video of Trudeau promoting Israel, right? And I know most people don't have that much time to do the research, right? Oh, I hate this stupid chat thing. is not letting me in here, and I haven't got the time to dick around. Anyways, that's the Trudeau one, and then I have another one I did of our the Premier of Ontario, and I did up a picture of her in army garb with a rifle by a tree. And I said, is Wynne intent on killing Ontario? A lot of people were complaining about what's going on in Ontario, and rightfully so. So I just put this in. Kathleen Wynne, Premier of Ontario, seems bent on destroying the province and future of the province and the future of the people. The elected, in quotes, politicians from coast to coast have become domestic terrorists. Now, if you look at the original term terrorism and the origin of it, it is government. Government is the terrorist. That's where the word terrorism came from. It didn't come from guys living in a cave. Terrorizing the people. That's what the government does. Now, they used to try to be benevolent or show they were benevolent, but that was just a cover-up while they keep moving their program. Now they're getting antsy and they want to get it done. So they're pushing hard. They're destroying the nation, any nation, all nations, as they shove UN Agenda 21 down our throats. The elected are acting as agents for those striving to create a world government. All, and I mean all of them, are guilty of a breach of trust. And that's treason. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. That's what it is. And it's up to us to do something about it. We got nothing to complain about. We really don't got nothing to complain about. Okay? We have nothing to complain about. They're just doing what they do. They're doing whatever they can do that they think they can get away with. Okay? If we don't push back or hold them to the fire, then we got nothing to complain about. Look what they did. They shouldn't have done that. No. They're like a bunch of bad children. And if they're not spanked, they will just continue doing what they can get away with. So it's not their fault. It's our fault. It's always been our fault. Looks like George Burns in a movie. I love it. Who put that in there? I can't even say that. Intersfisk. Or Intersfisk. Yeah, we are living in a movie. And a movie ain't, a movie might be okay for a couple of hours, but not for your entire life. And we got to get out of the fictional world, And I'll say this, I got 1 minute left. I'm changing the name of the show to Rock the Boat. I've changed my Facebook over to Rock the Boat. And I'm going to change all my shows over to Rock the Boat because it's time to rock the boat. It is game on, but it's time to rock the boat. And because we're upside down, we're floating in a fictional world here, and we got to flip it 180. And we got to get back to the right side, the lawful side, not the fictional legal side. Anyways, everybody have yourselves a great night. And we'll be back on Revolution Radio Saturday night, 10 till midnight. And then Sunday here on UCY.tv, till 2 p.m. Everybody have yourselves a great night. It's warm outside, so I'm going to go outside and enjoy it for a little while. Take care, everybody. Have a great night. We win. Have a good one. We are